I have a question for you. I drink socially 3 times a week, and I probably have like 3 to 4 drinks a night. I just want to know how much alcohol is too much.
We're back with Jen, who was wondering if she is enjoying cocktails a little too much. Jen, curious what your biggest concern is.
I'm just sort of concerned of like how this is going to affect me short term and long term. I'm not sure how my liver's going to hold up. Sometimes when I wake up in the morning after drinking, I have like a pain in my side, and I don't know if that's related to it. And also I have like really bad headaches, so I'm just, yeah.
Well, Jen, I hate to be a buzzkill, and I don't mean to be Debbie Downer, but you're drinking too much. Because when our producers asked you, what are you consuming on a typical Saturday night, you're looking at it right here. Okay, we've got 2 little whiskey and gingers, but then we've got the kicker with 7 shots of tequila. That's way, way too much. In fact, that amount of alcohol consumption puts you in the category as an at-risk drinker or a heavy drinker. And the CDC, the Center for Disease Control, states that if you're having more than 3 drinks on a given night or 7 drinks over the course of a week, that puts you at an at-risk drinker.
And I want to highlight that this is an important question because it's not as though, Jen, you're some massive outlier. Anyone who's ever gone to a bar on a Friday or Saturday night knows that if 8 people show up at a bar together, there's a chance that every single person in that group at some point is going to order a round of shots. Yeah. And before you know it, you're not even realizing it, because after the second shot, judgment goes to the wayside, and then before you know it, and I'm saying this only because it's easy to judge and say, Jen, whoa, but,
and guess what, Jen,
this can happen
We've
quickly.
all been there, done that, through college and frat days, and those, there were times in our lives where we did imbibe like this, but doing this on a regular basis will catch up to you. And a lot of times people don't realize how much you're consuming. When you pour a glass of wine, you're out with the girls, a proper pour should be about that much in a wine glass, which is the classic 5-ounce pour. Well, what's the bartender who's going to see you and your girlfriends? He's going to want you to have a good time. He likes you. He's going to pour you this glass to the top. That's a 15-ounce pour. You're getting 3 times the alcohol. That's more than you should be drinking total in one night.
But let's talk.
I think it's important, though, to mention, as you all said, you're not alone. And the good news is the liver is tremendously resilient. So a lot of the damage that you're doing is reversible. So it's not like this is done, you've taken those 7 shots and that's it for you. It really, most of the toxicity from alcohol comes from the byproducts when you break it down. So as you know, when you stop the alcohol, it can certainly regenerate and repair. If you are going to go out and you're going to consume like this, or less, hopefully, just always think about using a ride-sharing service or a taxi. Just please don't get behind the wheel, because that's when, aside from the long-term injury to your liver, that's when the really short-term damage could be devastating.
You're more likely to have an accident, and you never want to combine any other types of medications, pills, for example, drugs, with consumption.
And take away for viewers at home, I highly recommend doing this. I do this in my own home. Have measuring capabilities. So if a shot of alcohol is 1.5 ounces, have that, so that when you're making someone a cocktail, you're making a cocktail, that you're not making 3 cocktails in one. Know exactly what 4.5 to 5 ounces of wine looks like. Go ahead, and I'm not even kidding, I do this. I actually take a little black marker and mark out what that is in a glass of wine. Because how many nights you're like, oh my gosh, I only had 3 glasses. Why is my head hurt? Knowing exactly what that looks like in your wineware is really important. And last but not least, when we say a beer, we're talking about 12 ounces of a traditional beer that's maybe around 5% alcohol by volume. Nowadays, beers I do love, sometimes they're up to 10% alcohol by volume. So technically 6 ounces of that is a full serving. So just in your own home, have a method so that you don't get ahead of yourself, start making bad decisions, because the bad decisions do build up on themselves over time.